Just a quick video to show you what it looks like on my Wiggle map when I leave the house. So I left my house yesterday and went to the mall and then to my daughter's house and back. And look at, I've got, I'm connecting to beacons, or they're connecting to me from like 25 miles away. And then across the bridge over into Superior, Wisconsin. The red ones are weaponized telecommunications like T-Mobile, the big companies, Sprint, Verizon Wireless. This is coming from a restaurant that I ate at about a year ago when a friend was in town from Hawaii. And this big outfit, this outfit here in Superior's connecting. And I wasn't even near here. Here's, let's see. Oh, I did go past. This is Central Entrance. So, hot spots. I have 2 Memos on here. Memos. These automobiles involved in this automobile hotspot. Another Memo series. I don't even believe I was by that intersection. I was not there. This is the garden center I was at once this summer. I wasn't near there. You know, all of these people. Here's my neighbor's got a T-Mobile, a Verizon Wireless. You know, I wasn't anywhere near here. They're connecting. There's actually here, I was at my daughter's house over here. Here's I'm at my daughter's house. Look at all of these networks. And then there's some at these residences. This one guy has like 10 at his house. 10 beacons, 10 different ones. He named one SpongeBob's house, and that's what my daughter in the car told me that she named her house network. And so I'm going to have to do research on this person here. There's like 10 different, more than 10. I can't get something to populate on the blue one. Look at, see all the different Spectrum Mobile. That's the NSA. NSA created cryptography, the SHA 1256 RSA cryptography that they collect crypto on. He's got like 10 there. Look at this one way up here. So I'll be doing some research on what kind of, what about the device, the MAC address. And this is what they're doing in cities near you. Non-consensually, I believe that I was non-consensually chipped as a young person. Look at these ones. I'm not anywhere. I couldn't. I'm going to have to count out how many Spectrum Mobiles. See, it's this Spectrum setup and Spectrum Mobile. It's a money laundering. You know, hooking up to your wireless body area network, your body area network, and making money off of you. And this is at my grandkids' house. Look at all of these. Look at this. Another one right at my grandkids there, going across the street. All of these neighbors making money off of your slow kill, off of your intellectual property. This is all radiation for me. This is a business called Heidi's, but yet her Wi-Fi is way over here. There, look at that. So I'm over here at my daughter's house, and this is the company over here, and it's hooking up to me there. And all the way down the street, these Verizon. These are all active when they're bright green like that. See, look at that. Spectrum setup, Spectrum Mobile. That's a money laundering, human trafficking, modern day human trafficking off of my non-consensual body area network. Excuse me. Lots of Johnsons, lots of Johnsons. T-Mobiles. See, look at all these Spectrum. If I counted how many Spectrum Mobiles are in here, these Spectrum setups. See, look at all of them. Look at that. Those are all people in the community making money off of your torture. Putting voices in your daughter's head. And this is what they're getting away with. What did that one say? Let's see. So look at that. Look at all of these. These are a weapon system. They're the GSM 850, 1900, UMTS 850, and 1900 radio frequency. Look at all of these. And that's just these are just the big name weapons, weaponized telecommunication systems. It's not letting me click on it. Another Spectrum Mobile, see that? T-Mobile, Verizon, T-Mobile. You know, I didn't go down this row. I didn't go down this street, but yet they're still connecting to me all the way down there. See that? I'm going up this street, but they're still hooking up to me all the way from here. I don't know how that happens. So I'll be doing research on lots of these. You see? Spectrum. Spectrum is, you know, doling out these weapon systems. How do they get them? Who's making all the money? Spectrum makes money, and then the owner of them too, T-Mobile. How do they get these weapons? Do they have to purchase it? Is it pay to play? You know, look at that. I'm not near that up there. I'm not near these up here. I was on this street. But yet they're connecting here. And then I find these in my environment. AJ's house. D-Link. Show you some pictures from earlier quick. I'll show you what one of those looks like when you go down the road. So I would just, my daughter was driving and I was blocking some out. Oh, that is a picture. See, this is where some of those go to. That's where the one with the 10 that I was not near, that had the 10 different nodes, is from this address. And the funny thing is, I lived at this address in about I'd say 93 maybe. I know my partner, my kid's dad, had just left me with 3 little kids, and I had no car, and I had to walk to work, and, you know, I can hardly remember. You know, it was a crazy time. Look at, there's something coming from this one. This was not far from where I was at, you know, at least about a mile or about a mile. And of course there's, I get stalked with blue and maroon cars, and there's a maroon car sitting in front of it. So that's where, so see this guy, he has this one, that one, that one, that one. And then sometimes they have a different last 2 numbers on the MAC address. So there's the Spectrum Mobile. See, he had like 10 of them. Here's Steffi. He lives about a block north of me here. And he is listed as just coming home from the Alaska Northern Army Warfare Base. That's who that is. The Witts family. They live across the street. This is attempted murder. They need to get out of my network. They're you know, swamping me with, look at that, 5 gigahertz. And they've got 2 in my environment. They have a Witts family and a Witts. They might even have 3. Yeah, see, this was earlier. Here's another one. This one was one that came from, I was at my daughter's house, and it's far away. That's about 2 or 3 miles from my daughter's. And look at again. They've got the blue car in their driveway. I get stalked with blue and maroon cars. What does that say? See, here I'm at my daughter's house. Oh, I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. Hang on. Ooh. Oh, excuse me. So this was yesterday as I was driving. I was a passenger in my daughter's car, and I would click on a few to see what they look like. So this is, 7 observations. I'm going down the road. And they weaponized the Samsung there. So Blue Trum technology. I'm going to have to say I never even heard of that. See what that is. Coming home my street. Can't tell me, neighbors aren't involved. There's obviously a beacon or something in the backyard to the tree at my neighbor's. Ampac technology. Look at 6 observations. I'm coming up to the intersection there. It's just rat bags. These people are rat bags. Cheaters, rat bag cheaters. This is what it looks like. See that? 3,537 Bluetooth devices, or almost 4,000. 626 Wi-Fis. Look at some of these devices. The manufacturers, Shenzhen something, microchip technology. Look at all the microchip technologies. And that's what one of the microchip technologies looks like. And this hash code right here is cryptocurrency. 9 observations as I'm going down the road. Look at that. I'm going to have to look what that is, what kind of electronic that is. I don't know. I've never seen that one on my thing before. So when they show up like this, I have to click on them. And then I lock them out. And I don't know if I can see if there's one. Look at this one. Best Tech something Shanghai. Oh, that's that One More Fit that came from, a couple miles away from my daughter's house. That nice house with the blue car. So we'll have to be doing some research on that. Telelink semiconductor. Look at that. I'm going down the road. 8 observations. Polar Sense. Polar Electro OY. So that's somewhere in the European Union, I'm guessing. Oh, so watch this one. Yeah, so I'm over here at the mall, but yet somebody at this apartment building was connecting to me. Look at that. So they are at this apartment building. I'm trying to figure out, let's see where this is. Oh, anyway, let's see, it's behind, wherever. I got to figure out exactly which apartment complex, but I'm over here. This is our mall. Came down this road into our mall, and this apartment complex, this guy's had all these devices, and I lost, it sometimes just zeroes out, and so I didn't get more data on it. But right there, that apartment building has got some sort of transmitter, and he's connecting to me. And look at that. This is what some of this looks like. This is modern day human trafficking, modern day slavery, organized crime. Organized crime. 4 observations, Texas Instrument. Look at all the different spots. I'm assuming that they had beacons, you know, and they hooked me. I mean, I don't, you know, I wasn't there. Look at this ST Micro Electronic SRL. I'm wondering if this is the police officer. I don't know, because I see this rad usually when I go out. Look at this one. 4 observations. Homelink mirror. I want to see what that is. Homelink mirror. So here I'm, coming down the street? Lakeview Christian Academy. If that's coming from there, the lady across the street works at Lakeview Christian Academy. The lady directly across the street works there. Look at this. Qualcomm Technologies. Texas Instruments. Ericsson. Look at that. It's an Ericsson device. And then here's the SHA-1. It's the SHA-1. That's Cisco Systems. I believe this is the hospital has a clinic at the mall. And that's what that all is, the Essentia Health. So they're hooking up to my body area network. And here's T-Mobile again. Look at that. Oh, I think this is, okay, this is, did we come down this road? My daughter went over to Petco. I stayed in the car. I think that's what that is, one right there. I was at Petco. And this is Home Depot. Maybe we did come down that road. I don't remember. So here's that apartment building. I'm going to have to try to do some research on that. See, look at that. Look at all those MAC addresses. So I'm inside the mall there. So I was probably coming out the door here because this is like the food court area. So here's a couple hits as I'm probably walking through the mall. Decker Dwellings Apartments. So maybe that's where it might have been. I'll have to look. Never even heard of it. Look at that. That's where it must have been. Zion's Whoop. Texas Instruments. So here I am coming down on probably Piedmont. This is where they're transmitting from. And then they hooked up to me here again on I think this is Anderson or Chambersburger Decker Road there. Look at that. Look at that. Wowen Technology. I'll have to see what that is again. I've never seen that one. Let's see, going to the tree. So they have beacons and transmitters and stuff hidden in the tree. There's an Orbi Wi-Fi extender. My neighbor, he's a serial killer. Paul Carlson, he's a serial killer. He has an antenna right actually at about that point. Huge antenna, yeah. There's that Spectrum setup. See that? Hotspot coming from the corner down there, a couple blocks away. Another odd technology company in my environment. See that? This guy's a serial killer. He has an actual commercial cellular tower. That Happy Trees is transmitting from there, but you can find it in my environment, and he has a sky. I just seen the sky in my thing and it got buried and I couldn't get it back up, but it's under all of my devices there, and it would be in my database. And I've got beacons coming from this grandma's restaurant, and we ate here a couple weeks ago, and ever since then now I'll be home, and I haven't even left like in weeks or a month. So just here the other day, this Peter Tryon was at that point, and then now yesterday, this was like yesterday morning, I woke up, and when I turned it on, this was there. But now there's one that says BMW something. I didn't log it, so I'm going to have to do some research on who Peter is. See that? So I'm in my house, and I turn on Wiggle, and I've got a connection way up at this grandma's restaurant. And here I was doing research on people. She was the Native American. I had to have a supervised visitor when my grandkids came. They were just trafficking me, that Icky Paula, and I found her related to the lady. So they put my grandkids, there she is. They put my grandkids she also works for Red Lake Nation, and that's my daughter. They hooked my daughter up with a man named Todd Jourdain, who supposedly, was released to the work release program that my daughter was at after they put her in prison for 5 years for nothing. And he was in for supposedly manslaughter. Him and his buddy beat up their other buddy and then buried him in the yard, and that's who they hooked my daughter up with. So instead of coming home to the kids after 5 years of prison, they were all in love after spending 6 months together at this work release program. And then after 3 years, he dragged her up to the Red Lake Reservation, and she came crawling home from there, literally almost crawling home, hearing voices in her head. It was really bad that last few weeks. It was really ugly. So so this is where they put my grandkids. So my grandkids spent about 2 or 3 months at this kids safe house or safe shelter. It was more like a kids jail. And then first they had them with an 85-year-old woman out in almost the country, which I just found out might be related to my sister-in-law's side of the family. And then they moved my grandkids to this 2527 West 1st Street. And then this lady lived there, and that's Paula's sister or something. The lady that I had to have as a supervised visitor is listed there. My brother comes up in all of this. I'll come back to that. And then, I'll show you. So this is how it goes. So it all started as my neighbor lady came in. See if I can show you. So my neighbor lady, Carolyn Kressel, a couple doors down, is coming in with this beacon. This Verizon wireless. See that? It maxes out at 512 observations. So here's the daycare lady 2 doors down. I used to use her. I'll show you the beacon after. There. So here's the beacon at her house coming into my environment. Look at my environment. Look at that. All these neighbors participating in targeted justice. Tells you neighbors aren't participating. It's hogwash. Look at that. It's ugly. So anyway, so she comes in with this beacon. And so I did, I looked her up. There she lives. There she is, Carolyn Kressel. She used to, invite me over to jewelry parties, and she was my daughter's daycare lady when we first moved here in 2004. And so here's, the people that live at her address. That's her son. For some reason, he was in North Carolina. And then, that must be so isn't that funny? So Charles Davis lives at that North Carolina address. And then, of course, I always say it goes back to Texas. There's Texas. And this is her ex-husband. I think they're divorced now. But he lived at 2527 West 1st Street, and that's the address where they took my kids. So this is 25, 27. And this Christine Weir lived there. And then, so then you see where Christine, she actually lived across the street. So this is that supervised visitor, Paula. And I caught her on my wigle, and she knew it the minute I seen her face. When she knew that I seen her, she quick turned it off. But I caught her on there. We were bringing the kids to a movie or something, and I caught her on there. And then it had 2 global matches. It had 2 global matches, and then I was able to find some transactions in Beyonce. This is before they changed it. So I said, I know who this is. Only 2 matches for the MAC address in the world, and they show millions of hash codes when populated into Binance for untold transactions of money and cryptocurrency. Yep, and then actually here's the... Let's see, that's the same one. And then I was doing, so I looked back, because this is the, now this is the foster lady, Mel. Her name is Mel Pringle. And she came into my environment with her device. And it had 1 global match. It was just 1 global match to Australia. And I was able to find the cryptocurrency a transaction in Beyonce. And there again, I did a post on this way back. This was in 22. It says, WiggleNet entry Mel use research shows only 1 match for MAC address in the world, routing to Australia. Population in Binance indicated money crypto transactions. Note at this time the grandkids were dropped off by the foster parent Mel. Isn't that awful? And this was another thing that I found. So when my grandkids were with that Mel, they were calling me every day saying they were hungry. And I found this medical grant, research for cardiovascular health in diverse children. And it went on to say, that they were just doing some medical research. So I wrote, documentation is compelled as barely a day didn't go by since the grandkids were taken. They haven't got a call saying they were hungry. plus food donation, both are ASN peers in my non-consensual research development. Money, specifically psychological stress, food insecurities in children. Yep, that's awful. Yep, crimes against children. So anyway, so here's the Christian Weir at the 2527 West 1st Street that my neighbor's ex-husband's listed at living at, and the supervised visitor. And you can see, so she even actually lived at 629 East 7th Street, and I lived at 614 East 7th Street. So she was probably, they were already, spying on you and collecting your data even back when I lived at that house. And then she's related to the Vervils, which is the owner of the milk house where my daughter Chelsea worked, and where they arrested her. And he said she was stealing, so he let her go 6 months, and not firing her or anything. He let her go 6 months, the story goes, so they could charge her with a higher offense. And then they arrested her on a Saturday when I was at my annual camping trip with her kids, with my family at the KOA that we go once a year. And that's when I got the call. They waited to call and do it on the weekend that we were tripped. But, and then Jesse Coyle. My mom was Jesse Coyle, I believe, is the grandson of Betty Coyle, and she was a bar owner in Superior, and a lot of my mom's friends were owners of bars, and that's where a lot of this all comes from. And then this name was also associated with these people, and Ramsey is the name of the people that my daughter, they have her listed at living at her address, and, it's just, it's identity theft. She never lived there. It's just a crazy story. Plus, Frederick, Wisconsin, my nephew and niece live there, and I find a lot of Frederick, Wisconsin comes up, and there's some people that have beacons there on my net monitor, net monster. And then Brooke Solberg lived at these addresses too, and Brooke and her brother Jacob just lived down the road, and they were really good friends of my kids, Chelsea and her brother Cable, and I would take them everywhere. We would go camping, or we'd go stay at a hotel for a weekend in a resort, and I would take them everywhere. And then the house that I live in right now, it was their aunt and uncle's house. So I live in Bonnie Solberg lived here before me, David and Bonnie Solberg, and we bought it, and come to find out that they were Brooke's aunt and uncle. And the other thing that was interesting is that one of my best friends, like from 7th and 8th grade, is related to them. That they're related. It's just bizarre. And then okay, so this is more about Paula. So another person that's listed at the same address with these people is this Vaughn Wallace. Vaughn Wallace's relative is Sean Wallace. Sean Wallace works with my husband. He's a coworker of my husband. Whoop. And then it shows Sean Wallace is also Diane Cardinal's relative. I'm not sure if it's his wife's mother or grandmother, but they are this is my brother's address right here. Previous address in 2018. My brother still lived there in 2018. 51715 Belle Isle Drive, Rush City. That's my brother's address. See, there's Teresa Wallace. So that's my coworker's, my husband's, Sean's wife, Teresa Wallace, living, or relatives to Diane, who is listed at living at my brother's house. And I've seen this Wrath come up too on one of my beacons. And, I see all these names, Fox and Wrath and White. And there's my brother. He lived here for like at least 10 years. He just recently moved to Leesburg, Florida. So he had this house and this house about the same time. And I've seen people at this house, listed at this house in my network before too. There's Farrell's. Yeah, so it's just a F fest, an F fest. It's just organized crime by people that, it's just icky. And they're letting this continue. They're letting your own family human traffic you, your spouse. I was doing some investigative work for somebody on Twitter that was complaining of, community harassment and stuff. And his house wasn't like this, but this was somebody right down the road in his community. So this person is being attacked right here. And it was ugly because, so this is that house, the person's, and that was that guy's house. But, see, look at all the, see, those are all the weaponized beacons that are at that house. So 5060 Scottmore Way in Maryland. And that person probably has no idea what's happening to them. No idea. And that's what our government is allowing to happen. So her house looks like my house. There's my house. And these are some that are coming into my environment. This is already 35 minutes long. There's the Verizon Wireless. All these red dots are neighbors that have beacons. Neighbors that have beacons. Here's this Webos TV, 6 observations. And see, there's this neighbor, 2816 Hagberg, has a beacon. Oh, Nordic Semiconductor, 240 observations. Sorry about that. And look at that. So this person has a beacon, and there, and there, and there's my house. That's a Samsung electronic. There's another, that's a Webos Nano something. 36 observations. See, there's a neighbor that has a beacon. I got, so you know, they don't, I can't see all of them. I don't know how many there are of those in this mess. I mean, I could look in the database that I download to WiggleNet, but you know, there's a Verizon wireless ending in 7058, 7056. That just indicates organized crime. It's, you know, they've gotten the numbers in sequence. They're neighbors in my community, people in my community, and that's a weapon system. That should be considered attempted murder. Look at that. They've been flying over my house a lot today. Look at that, all the devices in my environment. Going to trees and houses. And I can't keep up. This is my house. Look at all of the beacons going over to 2811, the Coombs house, and over here at Morris Thomas, that's the Sumala's house. All swamping me with Wi-Fi. Here I had a device come in from this this town in Romania, and they actually, so they just got, I found a grant for 99 million for a for some sort of nuclear reactor plant. So these are all neighbors that were coming in on that wiggle, the Sampsons and the Carmen and Lucas, Lincoln Prout and Rebecca Orlowski, and the Sumalas behind me, and the Nathan Farrell next door. And it was the Willoughbys, and for years, you know, they were here when we left, or when I moved in, but then they passed away. Then the Willoughbys moved in, and now I find out that they're very much involved, and then they finally moved out because, you know, I was their good friend, and they were like waving, coming running out of their house. I was just walking back from the mailbox, and they'd start screaming, "You're crazy, we're gonna call social services on you." And I'm like, even if I was, you know what I mean? How do you just become crazy one day after being your friend? I mean, we were like good friends. We did lots together. I let my daughters spend a week at their house while we went to Mexico, and they were good friends. And all the while they were trafficking us. They were involved in this. But anyway, then Nathan moves in, and he had devices in my environment before he even unloaded his U-Haul. And right now on the WiggleNet map, the global map, he has 4 of those weaponized towers on his property. He has 4. And these are the new people across the street. And this Kubiak, Florence Kubiak, was my husband's, well, Marilyn, she was actually like, you know, aunt by marriage, my husband's uncle's ex-wife. Well, anyway, that was her aunt. It's just bizarre. It's just bizarre. And those are the people straight across the street. Ish. And then Paul Carlson on my right, you know, my grandkids slept at their house. And I see Joyce Olson's name come up in this too. It's like, I don't know how they do it. And there's that Icky Coombs. And a lot of these people have connections. See, this is what, you know, that's the Sumalas. And that's the Orlowskis. And over here is the Dave Carmen. And that's the Slies. Over here is the Coombs. And here's the Witzes over here. And the Wrights and the... what's his name? The Youngs, yeah. We mean all these people. Nathan Farrell, and right here is Paul Carlson, and all of these people ish. The Sampsons down here. Got that. Steffi, he lives way up here. He lives up here, and he's like I said, he just came home from the this Alaskan northern. Look at this, you know, I got all these thallies, defense and security systems in my, all of these, and this are in my Wireshark database right here, all these thallies. And we believe that they're involved in the smart contracts. And this is, you know, 4 global matches, 2, 10, 2 to Germany and Poland. See, UK, all these UK, Netherlands. These are all in my Wireshark database. And here is getting hit with direct energy weapons again. It's like a burn whip. They always get it in an embarrassing spot. This was my chest. And then they manipulate the camera so you can't get a very good picture. And Redbox, now since January 1st, I have not been able to, it says error, and I have not been able to log in and get a database from Redbox. They're telling me it's something error. So this was probably one of the last ones I got since the 1st. You know, look at him coming from Spain there. That's the infrasound detector. Here's that town that has the, in Romania, that's got the power plant coming. Okay, wow, this is already 40 minutes long. So, I only meant to do a 2-minute video, but Philippines. This is a regular in Richfield, Minnesota. He's associated with some sort of financial. This is a regular on Australia, Flame Tree Court. Actually, this is another TI in North Carolina. I don't know what the heck's going on with that. I don't know what's going on with that. It's interesting that all of a sudden that came up, and now I can't even get on Redbox now. Here's a hospital coming in from Mexico. Here's a hospital coming in from New York. See, look at, oh darn it. Just when I got to my, anyway, so that's that. So, I just wanted to show my Wigle database. I have a lot of research ahead of me. It's pretty awful when you leave the house to see it like that. Connecting from miles away from where you are. This is across state lines into Wisconsin. I live across the bridge in Duluth, but I actually was born and raised in Superior. I was born in Duluth Hospital, but I went to school. Lived here for the first 30 years of my life over across the bridge. And they got me to Duluth so they could traffic me in both states, both Minnesota and Wisconsin. It was a hot spot. Look at how far away that is connecting to me. And here's that one more coming from these people's house. So I'll be doing research on the device and the people. Okay, modern day human trafficking, modern day slavery, modernized clandestine MK Ultra, metaverse crimes, cyber torture, crimes against humanity. Duluth, Minnesota, over and out. January 3rd, 2024.